America's got Germans and we are 4 of them. My name is Annie and my husband, my 2 kids and I, we moved from Cologne, Germany to Boston, Massachusetts in July 2021. And as soon as I knew that Boston would be our new home, I started looking for a daycare for our 2 and 4-year-old kids. And to be honest, I was a bit overwhelmed with all the options, with all the different names and terms, and I was a bit confused. So I thought it would be interesting to share the differences between a German and an American daycare system. I will also talk about costs and what you can expect for your money. If you like what you see and if you would like to follow us for a bit longer, then please make sure you hit the subscribe button. That would mean a lot to me. So in Germany, the system, I guess you can say, is very straightforward. So you send your kids to a place called Kita, which is short for Kindertagesstätte, or a place called Kindergarten, which is basically the same thing, until they are 6 years old, so old enough to enter elementary school. Some kids are still 5 when they start 1st grade, but they turn 6 shortly after. It's all depending on the date of birth. The only difference is that in some states, so in some Bundesländer, they distinguish between a place called Krippe and Kita, and the difference is basically the age. So you send your kid to a Krippe till the age of 3, and then you send your kid to a Kita till the age of 6. Here, before I moved here, I knew that there exists something called kindergarten, but that's actually something totally different. And let me explain how the system works here. Basically, you start with something called daycare till the age of 2 or 2.5, and then you send your child to a different place, which is called preschool. And they have a class called preschool for kids of 3 and 4 years old. And when they are 4, they go to a class called pre-K, which is short for pre-kindergarten. And after that, they go to a kindergarten when they are 5 years old. And that is actually already the first, stage of formal education. And it is oftentimes linked to elementary school. And that means that it is usually in the same building. Some preschools, they also offer a kindergarten class, but if they do, they are oftentimes private and you have to pay for it, while you usually don't have to pay for a kindergarten at a public school. And what I was about to say is, I wanted to say that kindergarten is also mandatory in a lot of states, so you have to send your kid to kindergarten, while preschool and pre-K is not mandatory. Another difference I noticed is that they also call pre-K, preschool, and kindergarten school. And that was very confusing for my 4-year-old, because when we told him you're now going to school, he was like, what? Schule? But isn't that a place where big kids go? He was confused, as in Germany, we don't call a kindergarten school, we just call an elementary school or a secondary school, but not a Kita or kindergarten. So it was very cute. He was a bit confused. What I also noticed is that they focus a lot more on academics at an American preschool or pre-K. And if you would like to hear a little bit more about that, and if you would like to know how my kids are coping with all the changes, you could watch one of my other videos. I will link to that in the description box below. To all my German friends out there, be prepared. This one might be a bit shocking. Okay, so the average costs per child per year in Massachusetts, that's the state we are living in, are $20,000. Yep, you hear right, $20,000. Okay, to be fair, Massachusetts is the second most expensive state when it comes to daycare, and other states ask for less, but then you would still have to pay like something $16,000. So, I mean, and as I said, I was talking about average costs. I had a daycare or a preschool I looked into, and they asked me to pay $70,000 to send my 2 kids to their place, and there was already a discount included for the second one. Thanks for nothing. I mean, it's just insane. And yeah, as you can see, of course, it is a true financial burden for a lot of American families, and they really have to think if they can send their kids to a preschool. So what they do is sometimes they send the kids just 3 days or 2 days per week, or just half days. Then of course the costs are less. But yeah, it is just, I mean, I was a bit shocked when I heard about the costs the first time. Anyway, so you might wonder now how much you have to pay in Germany. And this is a bit complex, as it depends on the city you live in, and it also depends on your income. So we lived in a city, Cologne, which is very expensive, German expensive. And if you have a very high income living in Cologne, you would have to pay 638 euros per month, which is around about 7,600 euros per year to send your kid to a German kita. And you sometimes also have to pay for food. At our place it was 75 euros, so not a lot. And the thing is, if you send your second child to the same place, then that kid goes for free. You just have to pay for food. So again, 75 euros, and you can send your second child to the same place. And not only that, but a lot of cities also offer that you can send your kid for free for the last year before the kid is entering elementary school. Some cities even offer 2 years, so Cologne offers 2 years. I think Düsseldorf, another city, even offered 3 years where you can send your child for free. So yeah, it's just a total different level. But as I said, it varies across the country. So I checked it out. I found this source. I will also link in the description box below. And this one is showing you how the costs can vary across the city. And you can see that in most places you can even send your kid, I mean, for less than 200 euros per month. So isn't that incredible? And doesn't it mean your kid can basically go for free? Well, I don't agree with that, because in Germany you have to pay a lot more taxes, as schools or daycares are subsidized by the government. But I still like it, because that means that every kid can go to a daycare or a kita if you want to send him or her to a daycare, and it's not depending on your family income, which I think is amazing. Of course, in this part I can only talk about the 2 schools we have sent our kids to in Germany, and the 1 school our kids are going to since we moved to the US, and not all schools are the same. But I still think it's interesting to share the differences I have noticed so far. And one of the biggest differences, I will exaggerate now a little bit, but it feels like we as a family or we as parents are treated like a customer. And the school is really trying to please us and to make sure we get a great service. And we also, I mean, the communication is also a lot better. We receive emails every day telling us what our kids were doing, and they send pictures. And there also exists school where they videotape the whole day, so you can log in and watch what your kid is doing. This would not be for us. I think it's a bit of an extreme, but again, everyone is different. So yeah, different reasons why you choose to send your kid to a school like that. Anyways, what I wanted to say is that the communication is a lot better. So We talked to the teachers every day doing drop-off and pick-ups. We already had a call, 101, where we talked with a teacher about how our kids are doing after a few weeks. They had a Zoom call where they explained the whole philosophy of the school again. They showed pictures and the concept, and it really feels like they just know what they are doing, and they are just like super engaged. Also during the day, I mean, if something happens, they text me immediately. So just 1 minute ago, I received an email, and I just will read it out as an example. It says, just a quick email to let you know that your daughter got a small bump on her upper lip. She didn't need any ice or anything and was fine once we wiped it, but wanted to let you know. She got lots of hugs, which I think is very cute, and continued playing once she had recovered. Let me know if you have any questions. So they inform us immediately about like anything, and I really have the feeling that we are connected very well. I really like that. And it was nothing like that in Germany, but I have to say that we weren't really satisfied with the school our kids went to, but it felt more like we have to be thankful for sending our kids to that school, as the city we lived in had a shortage of daycares, and it wasn't really easy to get a spot. So basically pleasing parents was for sure not on top of the agendas, to make it very clear. And we also didn't have the chance to send them to another school, as again there was a shortage, while here, I mean, you have to pay a lot, but if you're not satisfied, or I mean the school is just not the right fit for your kid for whatever reason, you can basically just send your kid to another school, and I think within 2 weeks. Of course, there needs to be an opening and you need to, get a spot, but basically you can just, send them to another school whenever you want. So yeah, the one thing I just wanted to mention was that one thing which is not included in the service here is food. And I have to pack 2 snacks every day and then also lunch. And if I want my kids to have warm lunch, I have to send it in a thermo because they don't heat it up. And yeah, I would prefer not to do that every morning, as this is a bit, stressful, as you can imagine. And in Germany, we had a chef working at our school, and he would prepare fresh lunch and fresh snacks every day, which was amazing. Of course, I would prefer that. But here, basically, all schools ask you to send at least the snacks, and if they offer lunch, well, it's most likely not the most healthiest option. So at the end, I'm glad that I get to decide what my kids are eating. So, okay, with that being said, it's the end of my video. Again, if you liked what you saw, please make sure you subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. Thanks again for watching, and auf Wiedersehen.